I'll start off by saying this first disclaimer. I want to ensure that the integrity of this case is not compromised in any shape, way, or form. So when you ask a question, I may or may not answer it. So let's get that off on the table right now. And because of it just told you triple homicide, if you don't know, the third victim has passed away. And there's, you know, I'm going to put some of these things out. First of all, the victims have all suffered fatal gunshot wounds. There has been an abundance of evidence collected that is being processed. And this is part of what takes time. This is part of the integrity of the case, from digital to forensic evidence. Sometimes it's easy to get these particular areas. Sometimes it takes time. We're having to piece these together. I have 15 detectives working on this case right now. They have been working tirelessly since we received the call initially. One of the things I do want to address, hopefully, I'm pretty sure you're going to ask this question, this is an isolated incident. It is not, and there is nothing to indicate that it is a serial killer whatsoever. All of our victims are known or were known to know each other and were together leading up to the incident itself. Now, some of the information, and I need to throw this out there because you've got viewers that do not live in the state of Florida and even Floridians do not even know what Marsy's law is. Now, the families of the victims, especially in cases like this with juveniles or teenagers, is they invoke the Marsy's law, which restricts us, and I have to comply with the law of what information can be given out on the victims. Having said that, I'll open it up to questions.
Sheriff, that third, the victim at the Lake Maluka Loop, was she in the passenger seat? Where was she in the car?
Can't give you that information. She was in the vehicle, I'll tell you that. But exactly located in the vehicle, no. Again, I'm going to reiterate integrity of the case because you want to ensure that you don't tip any suspect's hands of what you know. Okay? So this is the type of information that does get out. It could compromise a case. And we want to ensure that when the case is being done, we do everything we can to ensure that, one, we put the pieces of the puzzle together. Two, we collect all of the information so that it will be admissible in a court of law so that these individuals can be held accountable.
Can you talk about the relationship between the three teenagers? Were they friends? Do you know anything about that?
As far as all the information we have, yes, they are friends, okay? And the other thing that I'll hit on real quickly is that the detectives also have information that it's possibly tied to what we classify as hybrid gangs. Okay?
Is what, I'm sorry?
What?
Hybrid gangs.
What is that?
A wannabe gang. You want me to, I'll use a little more plain English for everybody. A wannabe gangs is what they are. Yes, sir.
You had, it's my first day into this, even though I know you've been working on it for several days, so just for my clarity. At one point you did interview a person of interest, correct? And that person was then told they could leave. Is that person still considered a person of interest by your agency?
All of the individuals that we have been given tips on are persons of interest.
Can you give us a ballpark, whether that's 5 or 50?
No. I can tell you it's more than one.
Do we know?
Can you say if you have any suspects at this time?
We have multiple suspects.
Do we
Yes,
know
ma'am.
what the victims were doing leading up to this?
Not going to answer that one.
All 3 teenagers were shot, and I know this is probably something that goes down into the facts of the case, but I'm curious, have you been able to determine whether they were all shot with the same weapon?
That has to do with forensics, and we have not got that back yet.
Have you made sense of why they were found in different locations?
Not going to answer that one.
So do you believe all three of them were targeted potentially by the same person or another wannabe gang, how do you put it?
We're not ruling out anything. Okay?
So it could have been some sort of, albeit in a not what you would consider to be a formalized or recognized gang, could this have been some sort of turf situation where people say, this is my neighborhood?
Everything's a possibility.
And to clarify, were these three victims in one of the gangs, or were they targeted by people that were in gangs?
That information I don't have right now.
And Sheriff, do you believe there could be other victims right now? Are you looking for anyone else?
No, we are not looking for anyone else at this time. There is no information or no evidence to indicate that we have a fourth victim out there. And that was one of the other rumors that was put out there on social media. No. And this is to them. I already did one social media post. You don't know what occurred. And if you do, that means you're not coming and talking to us. And you need to. Because we need to solve this and put the dots, or put the pieces of the puzzle together so that we can put the individuals that committed the crime behind bars. It's as simple as that. All these speculations, everybody going out there and saying this is what happened, that they don't know. Okay? We do. And obviously I can't tell you everything. And I'm not going to tell you everything.
So, and again, we're all trying, I guess, to try to figure out exactly what the timeline is and what it all means, your investigators and us included. I know you found...
Piece of shit! Law and order! Law and order! All caps!
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. By standing.
I saw his hair.
I saw his hair.
I saw his hair. I saw him wave.
That was the body double.
Oh, could have been. Oh yeah, we should wait. See if
What were they known for? What did they do? Were they from the area?
I don't have that information, so I can't tell you. I don't know. I wish I could.
Sheriff, so you still have suspects outstanding, multiple suspects, you're saying, multiple persons of interest, multiple suspects. For the people who live around Aquawaha, Lake Weir, that area, who are parents of teenagers, how worried should they be?
You know, I'm a father. I got 2 boys. Now, my wife and I are empty nesters now. I worried about my boys the day they were born, every single day, okay? And here's the thing, and I was going to reserve this because one of a media outlet out there is hounding myself and Chief Balkan because we put on our social media juveniles who commit crimes, okay? You know why we do that? Because as a parent, I'd like to know who my kids hang out with. I like to know who they're associated with. And if they're known criminals, well, my boys would have got their little tails tore up if they hung out with them on a regular basis. That's why we do it, to ensure that everybody knows who's in the community, knows the activity they have. Because if you got juveniles that commit this type of a crime, my sons wouldn't be hanging with them, I can tell you that. Now, as for fear, no. As long as they pay attention to what their kids are doing. And part of the problem, and I want to think, and I want to hit on this right now. You know what the problem in this scenario is? 90% of the time, it's called parental problem. Problem goes back to home. Because I know the question's coming, and I'm going to go ahead and head it off. Has zero to do with the gun. Zero. Okay? Gun did not commit the crime. It's a human being that did. And we're failing at home. That's the problem.
Is that an indication, Sheriff, that most of your suspects are probably in the teenage realm?
No, that's not what I'm implying. Not at all.
Do you believe that the suspects, the possible suspects, knew the victims, all of the victims?
Say that one more time, I'm
Do you
sorry.
believe that the suspect knew the victims that were killed, or was this some sort of in-the-moment situation?
I don't have all that information right now. Okay?
But the public safety in that area, in your mind, is still secure, that people should be able to do their daily business, you know.
Absolutely.
Extracurricular activities and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Without an enormous fear.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Do you believe that?
She ain't asked a question yet.
Do you believe that the victims were previously involved in some trouble before their passing?
Trouble before. I can't answer that for all of it because I don't have all the information at the moment. So I can't answer your question, to be honest with you. Okay? And let's be frank. Anybody that associates with a gang at some point in their life, they've done something, whether they've been arrested or not. Okay? So when I tell you they hybrid gangs, people in gangs, it's not a gang because it's all, unicorns and everything else. It's because they do illegal stuff. Simple as that.
And I want to clarify one more time, Sheriff, as far as the gang connection.
Mhm.
Are you saying, or can you tell us if these 3 victims were in this wannabe gang?
I don't have, all right, I'll clarify it this way. There's information that we're being given that there's a possibility of hybrid gangs, and that's about it. I can't tell you who's associated, what gang's associated with, or anything that.
But your victims were associates in that hybrid gang.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, we're just trying to be clear, Sheriff.
I know. And again, I'm going to go back to the integrity of the case. I'm not going to tell you some things. One, just not going to do it. And 2, we don't know positively. I'm not going to stay here and positively give you an answer to that type of a question without knowing for sure that that person was. And I don't know for sure. Does that make sense?
But it could be a possibility, or is that something you guys are
Yes, ma'am.
investigating? Okay.
It's a possibility because it's information that we were given. Everything's when we get an information, when we get a lead from individuals, it's a possibility, right?
So just to be clear, you guys are investigating potentially that the victims were part of this hybrid gang or whatever you call it.
What we're investigating is their murder, not necessarily what their association is with a gang. It's just we're investigating their murder.
I know you say there are multiple suspects, but are there multiple shooters?
Can't give you that one.
Because you don't know or you can't tell us?
Not going to tell you either way.
So we have a proper characterization, Sheriff. I think hopefully I'm summarizing this accurately, that's why I'm asking it this way.
Mhm.
That you're investigating obviously a triple homicide of 3 teenagers who all knew one another, and in some form or fashion, there was hybrid gang activity that led to their deaths.
That's information that we are being given. Any others?
How can you say, you're saying with confidence, the public is safe and everybody should feel comfortable. How can you reassure people that when no one is behind bars right now?
Oh, yeah. How many times have I come on camera and lied to them?
I guess what would you say to them?
What would I say to them?
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, and that's a good question. But to my citizens, they should know me by now. But I won't come on the camera and give you assurance of something that I'm not confident in myself. Because we wouldn't be having this conversation if I wasn't.
Is it
Does that
fair
make
to say
sense?
that you said you had 15 detectives working on the case? Is it fair to say you probably also beefed up road patrols in that region of the county?
Yes. I mean, that's just natural of any type of incident, whether it be burglaries, homicides, or robberies. When we have them in a particular area, especially when we have this amount, yes. To answer your question, yes, that happens. And it goes back to the question for her that she asked, is the safety of the community. The community wants to feel safe. So how do you feel safe? They want to see my deputies' vehicles coming through there. They want to know that they can walk out their door and be okay. That's how they feel safe. Andy?
Hi, Sheriff. I watched your video, and that was reassuring to the public. I was out there this morning and talked to a number of residents, and at least one come up and said, oh, I heard there was 5 deaths, and one lady said, yeah, people are making up their own stories. My phone didn't work out there, and I'm concerned how much access they have to any media, or you're sending deputies, I think you just answered it, you're sending deputies to rove out there and kind of reassure them?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're there.
Yes,
Did I hear somebody over here? I do that all the time. I forget.
Sorry.
Maybe, do you know if any of the victims felt endangered before their passing as well? Did you guys receive that?
Don't know. It's one we don't know.
Are the victims' families cooperating in your investigation?
Yes.
What would be your message to those families today?
We're going to get them. they are going to find them. They're going to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and they will be. I've got people looking at me right now, but I'm going to do it anyways. Their asses are going to be right over there in that jail.
And is there any suspect description you can release so people at home can help you all identify this person?
Thank you for asking that, but no, not right now.
No suspect vehicle, anything like that?
No. If I had, I would have already given it to you, but thank you for asking, and I appreciate y'all do. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to reiterate that, when your viewers out here, whatever information you have, please reach out to Crime Stoppers, and it can be anonymous. Is the only way we are able to solve any crime, not just these homicides, is people to give us information. And they are working on every lead that comes in, every lead, whether it be a text, a phone call, or just a simple one-liner, or somebody said, hey, I saw this. They're following up on it. Because not only are victims, but those families have a right to justice, and that's what we're going to accomplish.
People may hate this question, but is there a reason those two families requested Martha's Law? They just went there privately?
You know, it ranges. A lot of times it has to do with emotion. You know, in a family, when you lose a family member right off the bat, you want to close yourself in. You want to box yourself and your family in because you don't want to be part of it. So to be able to answer it, it's difficult. Because, we all have had probably a family member that we've lost, and you know the stages, anger, grief, and you go through that. And that's probably one of the reasons. But to give you an exact answer, I don't know. All right, last chance. Thank you for being here again, all right?
You got my email, and I don't always have time to check everybody's email.
You're heading back, or you have to stay?
That's the same thing.
Oh, you're doing what?
I don't think it gets it.